Get more on the Sheeler Motor Mile, your trusted dealer serving Southwest Virginia and surrounding areas for over 50 years. With more selection, more value, and more finance options. Plus, your trade is worth more. Shop local and save more with straightforward pricing, plus exceptional service and selection. Your search ends at the Motor Mile. Choose from over 900 quality pre-owned vehicles, plus a massive selection of new car brands in Southwest Virginia. Honda, Hyundai, Toyota, Subaru, Kia, Chevrolet, Mitsubishi, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and now Buick. Plus, the used car superstore. 12 new car brands, 900 used vehicles, one amazing buying experience. Volume selling means volume pricing, and we've got more than any other dealer in the area. The Sheeler Motor Mile delivers choices. Here's the difference. Sheeler owns the finance company and makes getting approved for credit simple and easy on the Motor Mile. Flexible financing options for every budget to get you on the road fast. Get more on the Sheeler Motor Mile with a certified friendly staff and no games, no gimmicks. The Sheeler Motor Mile, now in Christiansburg, Radford, and Pulaski. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com.
Hey, small to medium business owners, if you're frustrated with slow IT support, high costs, or paying for services you just don't use, it's time for a change. Hi, I'm Colt with We Fix Stupid Computers. We provide reliable on-site and remote support tailored for businesses just like yours. And we go beyond just fixing problems. We empower your staff with real tech knowledge so they can work smarter every day. From repairs to training to full IT support, we save you time, stress, and money. Call We Fix Stupid Computers, 434-525-8590, where smart support meets real savings.
Hi, Gary the Third here, and I'm excited to say spring has arrived at Gary's Garden Center with great plants and a great selection. Gary's has seasonal color flowers along with vegetables, 60-plus varieties of herbs, perennial flowers, and much more. With friendly service and great advice, we are always happy to answer your questions. Visit Gary's Garden Center at 794 Leesville Road for all your lawn and garden needs. Stop by, say hi, and take a look around.
You're stepping into the fast lane on the VTRN Sports app, 93.3 FM and 1320 AM Lynchburg, or by asking Alexa or Google Home, open VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, take the fast lane through the topics that matter across the Commonwealth. This is the Fast Lane with Ed Lane.
Thankfully, this water that you see in the bottle that I'm showing and holding up on VTRN Sports and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook Live and YouTube is filtered many times over. I am pumping it toward the screen for added emphasis. Was at the water treatment plant, downtown Lynchburg today. Park Avenue in Lynchburg, I guess. Not technically downtown, but not far from downtown Lynchburg for the Trostall.com Fast Take. Because when it comes to your water, you want it to be ultra filtered. When it comes to your favorite NASCAR driver, you do not want him to be ultra filtered. You don't want your favorite NASCAR driver to have been, I'm going to use a term that should only be used for pets, but we're going to use it outside of that, neutered or spayed by PR handlers who don't want them to risk anything, so we show no personality, and no one really gets to see what they are like behind the scenes. Great article from frontstretch.com. I believe it was Amy Henderson who wrote the article today. Is that right, Trey? I'm getting a thumbs up from you. It is. She had a fantastic article about, for example, Jimmy Johnson was in a little bit of an accident back in the day, horsing around on a golf cart. Who knows if drinks were involved? It wouldn't be the first or last time, but use your imagination. But the Hendrick and Jimmy Johnson PR machines put the kibosh on that and saying he fell out of the golf cart rather than maybe horsing around, showing some personality. KYP is the know your personnel phrase in football. KYA is know your audience when it comes to entertaining. That was not a good call. Let people see that Jimmy Johnson was not this curated image. And all of that is brought up today here in the Fast Lane. Because Carson Hocevar is a breath of fresh air. Look, I get the irony coming from a Ty Gibbs fan, considering that Ty Gibbs is about as processed and guarded with his personality as you would find. He is the quintessential evidence of growing up around big-time PR staff. Joe Gibbs Racing is one of the biggest organizations in NASCAR. And he's been chastised by fans before, making him even more leery to show who his personality actually is. Which is why Carson Hocevar can connect with fans. First of all, so he wins the race at Talladega this past weekend. And my wife is one of the barometers. She'll watch some racing. She'll watch for a post-race interview, particularly if Tyler Reddick wins. He's done it a lot this year because we want to see what Michael Jordan has to say. She's a big Michael Jordan fan, grew up a big Carolina fan. She's a Wahoo fan, but grew up a big Carolina fan and a big Michael Jordan fan. He is the greatest of all time. Sorry, Trey, just had to get that in there.
No.
Maybe not as a GM, but certainly as a player.
I was going to say, wait, you make fun of LeBron, the GM, all the time. At least he can get his team to the playoffs.
Michael Jordan's feeling winning organizations.
Not because of the person. It's not because he picked the personnel. Denny Hamlin picked the personnel. I'm just saying.
Very true.
Michael Jordan was the owner of the worst team in the history of the NBA.
9-win Charlotte Bobcats, I think is what they were called at the time. I'm getting my Hornets and Bobcats mixed up. Whatever. He sold it wisely out of that profession. But I digress.
After Ed's potentially unnecessary detour, let's get back on the road in the fast lane.
The appeal from Sunday's race is it's one of the times where initially my wife is wondering why we watched Carson Hocevar take the checkered flag, and then I wanted to see his reaction. First time wins always generate a reaction. It's always exciting to see, in addition to Ty Gibbs, when other drivers also get to that particular mark. And then Carson Hocevar does the cool thing. He's sitting on the the entrance to the car. Is that the best way to describe it?
The door. I mean, he ghost ride the whip, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he is. He's ghost riding the whip. He's driving. He's tall enough where he could help press the accelerator, and you can detach the steering wheel and try to steer the car while you're on the side. I love it. He showed personality. NASCAR, to their credit, did not try to neuter his personality afterwards. He runs for Spire Motorsports. They are not one of the big three, Hendrick, Gibbs, Penske, where you have seasoned PR staff, code for overly controlled.
Gibbs suing Spire Motorsports currently.
Thank you for that, Trey. Very true. And Carson Hocevar, the way he celebrated, ghost riding the whip, couldn't have said it better, Trey, is an indication of why fans were clapping, cheering, and getting excited. If you were unaware of his personality, it resonated more because, admittedly, the reason he did it is he just wanted to soak it all in.
Ultimately, I just wanted to make sure I soak it in. I soaked every bit of it in. And I think I could tell you what everybody was wearing, where every seat was, where every 77 shirt was. I think I could have pointed it all out to you because I remember it so clearly right now. And that means more than anything else to me. Is just that none of this has been a blur. That I could tell you exactly from just off turn 4 that I thought it was just like, I have it. To right now, I can tell you every second.
When you've never won at a high level before, and you're not expected to by the outside, Spire Motorsports not expected. They've had a really good year with Daniel Suarez, Michael McDowell, in addition to Carson Hocevar's win. But when you're not expected to, you do soak it all in more. You have to work that much harder for it. You're not one of the chosen ones, if you will. Look, we see it in the media all the time. Trey puts in great work. I'd like to think we do in the fast lane. You can vote. Fast Lane, Ed Lane, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram with your comments. We are appreciative that listeners have voted by tuning in regularly to the VTRN Sports app and however you listen to podcasts. But we're not part of the chosen ones in media. Part of it is, we may not be as talented as others. Part of it is we just didn't get the label. So we're scrap, we fight, we claw. And there's a group of people that can resonate with that. And they connect with Carson Hocevar on that level. Look, again, I get the irony. I'm a Ty Gibbs fan. He is literally born into one of the biggest organizations in NASCAR. And because he's born into it, not only does he have an entryway to one of the better rides, he's not going to get fired because he's the grandson of the team owner. So he's in a unique spot. But I completely understand why people love the idea of Carson Hocevar, how he's soaking it all in, how afterwards he could still recount the visuals of what it was like. And the origins of that celebration resonates with so many fans who do equate Carson Hocevar to another famed driver. Well, the original one who came up with it is the dad, but it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Sr.
I've dreamt about that in the off season. I just wanted to have something that, just was meaningful for me. And I feel like I mean, obviously being a junior fan, I remember that iconic clip from, I think it was 2014 when he won the 500. I was there, but I remember he was inside the car, went helmet off and enjoying the fans going backwards. And, but the fans, they don't really get to know if they hear them or see them and everything. And so I had thought of just like, man, I have really long legs. I wonder if I can hit the throttle and sit on the door and ride and, just kind of see everybody. Like, I just wanted them to get as loud as possible. And I felt like they would if they could see me seeing them.
And they did. You could tell the fans got excited for Carson Hocevar winning. You may not have even heard of this guy before Sunday's race when he finally won. He's been on the verge of a breakthrough for a while, but he's not a chosen one in NASCAR. Again, laugh, Ty Gibbs fan using that phrase here. But that's what makes this so cool and appealing. And because he's with a smaller organization, he's got the flexibility to showcase his personality more. If you put him in one of those chosen one rides where it's a machine, so to speak, the way it operates, the people around you controlling your schedule and advising you to do this, don't do that, say this, don't say that, put this out there, filter this out, that's when you get filtered water personalities. Filtered water, good to taste. Grateful for those at the Water Resource Department in Lynchburg and the surrounding areas. Not what you want when it comes to NASCAR. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say this is an omen of things to come, because there's an element of skill, but there is also an element of luck that gets involved at Talladega, like 20-plus cars getting involved in an early race crash. But Carson Hocevar, to his credit at least, admitted that he's been on the wrong end of those. And as a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan, he knew how to run this type of track. But yes, he was kind of owed a good victory as well.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, I've been no secret, obviously, of being a Dale Jr. fan. So, just watching him win so many races here, I obviously feel like I've put a lot of emphasis on the super speedways. And ever since the 500, I felt like we were going to have a shot at this one. We had a shot at both of these last year, and felt like I was not owed, but I've had a lot get taken away, I feel like, from out of my control, that at some point the racing gods were going to give me a little bit something.
And you know what? He finally got a victory. Now, again, if you're in the right spot long enough, at some point it's going to come through for you. If you're up there enough, eventually victories will happen. Sometimes it takes longer to crack through the first time, and frankly, takes longer to get through. And honestly, when that happens, you appreciate it more rather than the success coming right away. And that's one thing about Carson Hocevar. It seems to be the case. Again, I want to see him contend regularly in the top 10, top 5 on non-tapered spacer tracks. So like starting this week at Texas, my least favorite track in NASCAR, or other venues that are on the horizon after that. But he's in the right spot. He's got a victory, and it's something that can connect, that fans can connect with. And that was a really cool thing to see. The way he celebrated, the fact that my wife's comment was, he seems real. He seems like the real deal. He seems genuine and authentic. And it connected with her in a way that a lot of drivers who have been too filtered have struggled to connect with. And for someone who's not a diehard, my wife likes NASCAR, but not in the diehard category, the way that, I don't know if Trey and I could count as that, because we do like the sport, but we also cover it for our job. So there's a little bias there. Think of the tie. Think of my wife. Think of the people that are more casual fans. This can resonate with them. And in NASCAR, filter personalities do not sell. Sure, maybe in a buttoned-up sport like golf. Again, tennis fan, but maybe in a sport like that as well. Sometimes that does sell, when everything looks perfectly manicured and clean. This is NASCAR we're talking about. We're talking about grassroots, blue-collar, people that often like to have a little bit of a rough-and-tumble time. Hence the stories of Talladega Boulevard that we discussed with Michael Massey of FrontStretch.com, and that he and his friend, and our colleague and friend of ours, Dalton Hopkins, partook in over the weekend.
You can listen to him 7:30 tonight with Andy J, the winner of the ARCA race, tonight on Front Stretch YouTube page for Happy Hour.
Or Front Stretch, wherever you listen to podcasts, like I'll be listening to tomorrow.
But tonight, we need to boost our live audience. So if you can tune in tonight, please can.
If you don't have kids and you have the flexibility, tune in tonight. Also, by the way, Trey, I imagine this is a topic you'll be discussing in greater depth on the Front Stretch Happy Hour podcast when that drops later this week.
You mean my podcast, Bringing the Heat?
Bringing the Heat. Sorry. I got it.
Happy Hours tonight. You're good. Yes.
Whatever. I just subscribe to the Front Stretch Podcast Network and listen to them
They're
all.
all on the. Luckily, it's one network, and all the podcasts are on one network, so you don't subscribe to like 6 different things.
Yes. See, that's what I do, Trey. I subscribe to one network, and then they just come, and then I get the names confused, but it doesn't matter. I'm listening to the great content.
Bada bing, bada boom. That's how you do it.
For people with a lot going on in my very simple head, it's a good thing. We have a lot going on because at 5:30, we've got JMU Virginia Tech baseball leading us into NBA playoff action. Your triple header of great sports continues in the Fast Five at 5-ish next here in the Fast Lane on the VTRN Sports app. And ask that smart speaker, open VTRN Sports.
Dealer Motor Mile. It's here. The all-new Motor Mile Chevrolet and Buick in Radford. More brands, more selection, and the same exceptional service you expect from a trusted community partner. Whether you're shopping Chevrolet or Buick, you'll find quality, value, and a team that puts you first. From rugged trucks and SUVs to stylish cars and family-friendly vehicles, the Motor Mile has something for everyone. With straightforward pricing and top dollar for your trade, there's no better place to buy. Bring us your trade, newer, older, paid off or not, and see why your car is worth more on a Motor Mile. Plus, with more inventory arriving daily, now is the time to shop the Motor Mile. Sheeler owns the finance company and makes getting approved for credit simple and easy on the Motor Mile. Flexible financing options for every budget to get you on the road fast. Experience the Motor Mile at 3 convenient locations: Christiansburg, Radford, and Pulaski. For over 50 years, we've got Southwest Virginia covered. The all-new Motor Mile Chevrolet and Buick in Radford. Certified friendly staff. No games, no gimmicks. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at MotorMileChevroletBuick.com.
We're joined by Randy Trost with Trost Law. Randy, unfortunately, you guys seem to be seeing a lot of people that are driving without insurance and then impacting other motorists. What have you guys noticed, and what do people need to know to protect themselves?
We are seeing clients come into our office being injured by motorists without insurance. And the most important thing that a person can do to protect themselves against these uninsured motorists or underinsured motorists is to make sure their own uninsured, underinsured coverage matches their liability coverage for their insurance policy on their car, and make sure they have more than the minimum liability coverage limits and uninsured, underinsured motorist liability coverage limits.
Randy Trost with Trost Law discussing how you can protect yourself from uninsured or underinsured motorists. When people are considering their policies, do you have any do's or don'ts to make sure they have a strong policy?
I recommend getting a minimum of $100,000 single event liability insurance policy and making sure that your uninsured, underinsured liability limits are matching that $100,000 liability policy.
Randy, thank you for sharing that info with us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
For more about how Trost Law can help you if you've been hurt, trostlaw.com, 434-777-HURT.
Hi, Gary the Third here, and I'm excited to say spring has arrived at Gary's Garden Center with great plants and a great selection. Gary's has seasonal color flowers along with vegetables, 60-plus varieties of herbs, perennial flowers, and much more. With friendly service and great advice, we are always happy to answer your questions. Visit Gary's Garden Center at 794 Leesville Road for all your lawn and garden needs. Stop by, say hi, and take a look around.
Your insurance company tells you to go to a certain shop. Once they give you the inflated estimate, you think, better get Maaco. For over 50 years, Maaco has been repairing and painting cars. Maaco is not in contract with insurance companies. They work for you. They don't give insurance companies discounts and rebates you'd never get. At Maaco, you'll get an honest assessment of your repair work by trained, certified professionals. You'll get the choice to pay with insurance or out of pocket, whichever makes sense for you. So if you have an insurance claim, get a second opinion at Maaco on Kemper Street in Lynchburg.
If you own a diesel truck or diesel fleet, it's time to go wicked and get serviced for the spring. And when you go wicked, take 25% off your service request for a limited time. Wicked Diesel in Bedford will allow 25% off a transmission flush, coolant flush, oil change, differential service, or AC service. Your choice. Just tell Josh you want that 25% off service special. Download the coupon at wickeddieselva.com. Need diesel repair? Go wicked.
Commercial turf is your business. Supporting it is ours. At Miller Built Outdoor Equipment in Lynchburg, we're focused on professional turf equipment. Toro commercial zero turns, professional handhelds, fleet planning, and service support built for uptime. Whether you're running 2 mowers or 20, we help you build the right setup from day one. Built around your turf, Miller Built Outdoor Equipment on 12th Street in Lynchburg.
Don't miss the declaration of deals during our spring clearance at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Buy now with big incentives or low financing, or we'll pay your state sales tax. Your choice. Plus no payments for 90 days. Don't miss the savings, like $6,500 off MSRP on a new Jeep Grand Cherokee. Plus no payments for 90 days at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 1750 Independence Boulevard in Bedford. MagicCityBedford.com. Stock number BT12821 with approved credit. See dealer for details. Ends 4/30/26.
Step into the fast lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the fast lane.
Well, making it rain. We need rain in the area. That's good. Making it rain before the NFL draft, not good. But it is where we begin.
It's time for Fast Five at 5-ish. 5-ish minutes on 5 relevant topics done around 5 p.m.-ish. Ish? Because our counting skills are kinda ish. Let's start with number 5.
So Diego Pavia. Many of us remember him from his time at New Mexico State, the infamous 2022 end of the season game at Liberty, where they were a 24-point underdog and won by 35. The Hugh Freeze departure game. People remember that. Then the next year, he gave Liberty fits twice at Williams Stadium. Didn't win either of those, but still gave them fits. Then transferred to Vanderbilt. Obviously was a key part of turning that program around. But at some point, you become a caricature of yourself. And I believe that's a part of the reason why Diego Pavia went undrafted. He is a 5'9" quarterback. He is not as athletically gifted as 5'9" Kyler Murray, who has his own maturity questions, albeit more about the gaming variety and studying the playbook as opposed to studying games, whereas Diego Pavia has other judgment questions. Not necessarily arrest, but partying and middle fingers to Fernando Mendoza when Mendoza won the Heisman. Pre-draft strip club visits that TMZ has since unearthed of him going into a strip club for a couple of hours and reportedly leaving an Albuquerque strip club around 5 a.m. Not to mention the fact that there are also articles out about Diego Pavia taking pre-draft advice from Win or Lose We Booze. Those were his words in the Netflix documentary he did, Johnny Manziel. That's not a good look. If you have things against you, your size and athleticism, and your good but not spectacular physical, good but not spectacular size and athleticism, a lack of physical stature, you need other things to make up for that. Laugh about the fakeness of Russell Wilson all you want, but from a football standpoint, especially early, he passed the football IQ test. Drew Brees matured into the role as well. They're undersized quarterbacks that should be the model for Diego Pavia, not Johnny Manziel, Mr. quote, Win or Lose We Booze. That's Manziel's words from the Netflix documentary. And if I find out that I'm in an NFL club, I am downgrading him as well. The whole article, and there's one at theathletic.com, I can't remember who wrote it, but I love these pieces. He's misunderstood. He might be, but he's also a guy that doesn't understand what the job requires. And when you fail to understand that, you are dinging yourself in an area where you have to market yourself. It is the job market, which is essentially what the NFL draft happens to be. Speaking of NFL draft, number 4, 5 total players from the Commonwealth of Virginia were drafted. 4 of them with JMU ties, 1 with Liberty ties. From JMU and then Indiana, Aiden Fisher, D'Angelo Pons, Elijah Surratt, and Kalen Black. And from Liberty, and then to LSU and the U, Miami, CJ Daniels. This is the trend that's going to happen. You may still have players that have played at mid-majors, but you're going to get fewer Quinyon Mitchells and Emmanuel McNeil Warrens who played at Toledo, and more likely players that played at those type of schools but transferred up, and the new school gets the credit, even though the other school helped develop them as well.
I mean, the 6th overall pick was Virginia Tech to LSU, Malik Washington, Virginia to Notre Dame, Jacob Rodriguez, Virginia.
Mansour Delane.
Mansour Delane. Did I say
Malik Washington?
Did I say
Former
Malik?
Virginia wide receiver.
Did I say Malik Delane?
No, you said Malik Washington.
Oh, I thought I botched Mansour Delane's name. Okay, we're good. But yeah, I was just giving more examples.
Yeah, there are plenty of those. And the newest school is going to be the one that gets the credit, but there will still be players from Liberty, JMU, and ODU who make the NFL draft. It's just the likelihood is they're going to have a stop somewhere else after they play in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Meanwhile, speaking of the Commonwealth of Virginia and football programs, no players from Virginia or Virginia Tech were drafted in the NFL draft. Just a nugget worth mentioning. What's really fascinating about that is Virginia Tech's understandable. Brett McMurphy had the tweet yesterday, one of the best college football reporters, that the programs that were power programs that did not have a player drafted, all of them were 4 or fewer wins on the season, and Virginia Tech fit that qualification. The only one that won more than 4 games, the Virginia Cavaliers. Had tip to Tony Elliott. Look, they had pro talent. I think Jamari Taylor will latch on in the NFL somewhere. I think he's a good enough running back. But the sum of the parts was better than any individual part. And for as much as we've dogged Tony Elliott at times, this last year showed that with good talent, he and his staff could put a scheme in place offensively and defensively to make the most out of that talent. And it is why it is justified that Tony Elliott's contract extension now runs, that he just signed, through 2031. Hat tip to David Teal for the FOIL reports. The compensation will go from $4.4 million to $5.4 million, a low buyout if he ever wanted to leave Clemson. Starting in this will go $5 million to $3 million to $1 million. Honestly, I think Tony Elliott is just a cultural fit at a place like Virginia. I don't know if he's a cultural fit at a place like Clemson, who justifiably, I think, would want to shoot for the stars if/when they get sick of Dabo Swinney not being able to embrace modern college football.
I was thinking Tony Elliott has not, Virginia smartly kind of called Tony Elliott's bluff, and Tony Elliott has not earned a high buyout if he got fired, because he has only had one winning season in which, like, there's
to justify a big extension.
Yes, exactly. So, like, he's had a lot of underperforming seasons and one really good season. You don't deserve a big buyout, and that's how it should happen in most instances in college football.
You can give a pay increase, which they did, but it's still much lower than market conditions for more established, consistently winning coaches, and I'm fine with that. I think it's a great point, Trey, because if you're a Virginia fan, you have to remember that, you know, I want to see this against a more challenging schedule, which the Hoos are going to have this year. They had a really easy schedule last year and managed to win a lot of close games. Had tip to it. It's a skill, but it's still the truth.
Also, show me you can develop talent. This roster was a lot of Band-Aids, like quarterback Band-Aids, you know.
A lot of one-year grad transfers.
Yeah.
Now, can you develop it a little bit further? We'll find out more. Meanwhile, double duty. Good today. Trey Lyle, the morning warm-up, and with us in the fast lane. Not good. North Carolina, double-edged blows. Henry Visar likely going to stay in the NBA draft. That coming from Jeff Goodman at a field of 68. He's not the only one who's brought that up. So too have Matt Lorlander, Gary Parrish, and Kyle Boone from the CBS Sports, CBSSports.com. And all that comes with Patrick Ngamba returning to Duke this coming year. I don't think Duke's top-end talent is what it's been in prior years. They still will be near the top of the ACC. I would add Louisville there, but Miami and Virginia are the two programs with a lot of returning pieces that showed out real well with their first-year coaches. Carolina, I know Michael Malone's got a lot there in the first year, but that's a blow to them to lose arguably their best player in Henry Visar. So that is going to be something the Heels must account for this upcoming football season. Meanwhile, we account for a shorter edition of the Fast Lane today. Tomorrow, we'll be back with a couple of more guests. Bob Alvis of the Sports Buffet podcast and John Manson from AseaofRed.com. We'll also possibly get into some stuff on one of the more impressive athletic feats over the weekend. I'm going to nerd out on running for a little bit because I can't help myself. But I've got kind of an analogy that if you want to know more about it, Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, because I put a photo up about this.
Stephen A. Smith doesn't think they're athletes.
I would love to see Stephen A. Smith try to perform. I'd like to see him run a 5K, much less try to run a marathon. Good luck with that. Meanwhile, that does it for us today in the Fast Lane. We've got Virginia Tech baseball. They host the JMU Dukes, and then the NBA playoffs. All of that still to come on your home for the Hokies, the VTRN Sports app, and ask that smart speaker, open VTRN Sports.
Following is a Play Fly presentation of the Virginia Tech Sports